Since 1968, there's been a signal in the bond market that has correctly called 8 recessions out of 8, missing only one false alarm in almost 60 years, back in 1966. And right now, in 2026, that signal just did something it hasn't done in over 2 decades. It stayed inverted for 27 straight months, the longest inversion ever recorded, before finally flipping back into a shape that's still not fully healthy. If you've ever heard someone on the news say that the yield curve is inverted and had no idea what that meant, by the end of this video you will, and you'll be able to check it yourself in under a minute. Welcome to Martic Finance, where we explain investing concepts in a simple way. But first of all, a quick disclaimer. This is not financial advice. Let's forget bonds for a second. Imagine you lend a friend money. If they say, give it back in 1 month, you're not too worried. A month is short. Nothing could go wrong. But if they say, give it back in 10 years, now you'd want something extra for taking that risk. 10 years is a long time. Prices could rise, your friend's situation could change, anything could happen. So you'd probably charge a bit more interest for the 10-year loan than the 1-month loan. That's it. That's 80% of the yield curve explained. Governments borrow money the same way, by selling bonds for different lengths of time. 1 month, 2 years, 10 years, or even 30 years. And normally, just like your friend, the government pays more interest the longer it borrows for. That upward sloping relationship, short-term meaning lower interest, and long-term meaning higher interest, is the normal shape of things. Keep that picture in your head. Everything else in this video is really just what happens when that normal shape breaks. Formally, the yield curve is a chart that plots the interest rate, called the yield of U.S. government bonds against how long you'd have to wait to get your money back, from 1 month all the way to 30 years. Each dot on that line is a real tradable bond. Connect the dots and you get the curve. The two most watched points on it are the 2-year yield and the 10-year yield. But why those two specifically? The 2-year is heavily influenced by what the central bank, the Federal Reserve, is doing right now with interest rates. The 10-year reflects what investors expect the economy to look like over the next decade. Growth, inflation, all of it. So when you compare the 2-year to the 10-year, you're really comparing what's happening now to what the market expects later. That comparison is called the 2's10 spread, and it's the single most quoted number in this entire topic. There are 4 shapes you'll actually encounter. First, there is the normal curve, upward sloping. Short-term rates lower, long-term rates higher. This is the healthy shape. It's what you'd see most years. Then, there is the flat curve. Short and long-term rates converge to nearly the same level. This usually shows up in transition periods, when the market is genuinely unsure whether growth will speed up or slow down. There is also the steep curve, a bigger than normal gap between short and long rates. Often shows up after a recession, when the central bank has slashed short-term rates to stimulate the economy, but long-term rates stay higher, because growth is expected to pick back up. And finally, the inverted curve. This is the one that makes headlines. Short-term rates are higher than long-term rates. Using our lending analogy from earlier, it's as if lending for 1 month suddenly paid you more than lending for 10 years. That's backwards. It only happens when something in the market is genuinely unusual. That crossing point, where the short-term line goes above the long-term line, is what everyone means when they say, the yield curve inverted. Now here is something important to understand. Short-term rates are largely set by the Federal Reserve as a tool to fight inflation. When inflation runs hot, the Fed raises short-term interest rates to cool the economy down. Long-term rates, on the other hand, are set by the market's collective bet on the future. And if investors believe that today's high rates will eventually slow the economy down enough that the Fed will need to cut rates in the future to rescue growth, they buy long-term bonds anyway, expecting to lock in today's yield before it drops. That buying pressure pushes long-term yields down. So you end up with short-term rates pinned high by current Fed policy, long-term rates pulled down by expectations of future weakness. In other words, the yield curve doesn't cause a recession. It's the bond market, collectively, with trillions of dollars on the line, voting that current conditions can't hold, and that a slowdown is coming. Now for the numbers, because this is where the thing gets interesting. Research from the San Francisco Federal Reserve found that every single U.S. recession between 1955 and 2018 was preceded by a yield curve inversion. That's 9 recessions in a row, correctly signaled in advance. There has been exactly one false alarm in that entire stretch. In 1966, the curve inverted, the economy slowed sharply, but a technical recession never officially arrived. The catch, and this matters if you're trying to time anything, is the lag. Historically, recessions have followed inversions anywhere from about 6 to 24 months later. In 2019, the curve inverted in May. The recession started in March 2020, roughly 10 months later. Ahead of the 2008 crisis, the lag was closer to 22 months, so the signal is directionally reliable, but it is not a stopwatch. So where does that leave us today? As of mid-July 2026, the 10-year Treasury yield sits around 4.55% and the 2-year sits around 4.17%. That puts the 2s-10s spread at roughly 0.4 percentage points, positive, meaning technically not inverted anymore. But context matters here. That positive spread comes right after the longest inversion ever recorded in the data, a stretch from mid-2022 to late 2024, about 27 months, where the curve stayed inverted continuously. And even now that it's normal, again, it's a very thin, narrow normal, nowhere near the healthier 1 to 1.5 percentage point gaps you'd typically see in a strong expansion. Now, in order to check the yield curve, you don't need a Bloomberg terminal. Here's how to check it yourself. First, go to investing.com and search for US 10-year Treasury yield, and separately, US 2-year Treasury yield, or search directly for US government bonds yield curve for the full chart. Compare the two numbers. If the 2-year is higher than the 10-year, the curve is inverted. You can do the same trick with other pairs, like 3-month yield versus 10-year yield is common too. The logic doesn't change. Investing.com's yield curve page will actually plot the full shape for you, 1 month out to 30 years, so you can see visually whether it's sloping up, flat, or inverted, without doing any subtraction yourself. Before we wrap up, I would like to clarify that the yield curve is a probability signal, not a certainty. It has had one false alarm in almost 70 years, which is an excellent track record, but it's not perfect, and the timing between inversion and recession has ranged from half a year to almost 2 years. It also doesn't tell you how severe a coming slowdown will be. That's why professional investors treat it as one input among several, alongside things like unemployment claims, credit spreads, and manufacturing data, not as a standalone crystal ball. I would also like to mention that, if you want to go deeper on how bonds actually work, I've got a full video dedicated to exactly that, which I strongly recommend. Link in the description. And that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.